Well, I wasn't exactly sober, I admitted with a shrug. You know how it is at these things, a toast here, a toast there. To the company's success, to friendship, to a brilliant future. Basically to anything and everything under the sun. The mood had been carefree, and so was I, still riding the high of the evening. Not this time. I waved my hand dismissively, puffing my cheeks in mock indignation. It was all very proper and respectable. Well, mostly. She arched a single brow as she took a slow sip from her mug. Her expression hovered somewhere between mild curiosity and the kind of condescension you only get after years of marriage. And yet, I pressed on, the words spilling out as if I were auditioning for a role. Do you know, Lily, that my colleagues have been eyeing me? I swear, one more stunning than the other. Oh really? She chuckled, her voice laced with amusement. What, Hannah from accounting? The one who can't tell her spreadsheets from her folders? She's your type now? Hannah? I gasped in exaggerated offense, placing a hand dramatically on my chest. Not a chance. She practically lives in the office. But Lucy from HR. I let out a wistful sigh, as if recalling something magical. She came up to me in this red dress and said, I'm so tired of this dull married life. Lily snorted at that, but for a fleeting moment, her smile faltered, her gaze flickering with something unreadable. Ah, the modern Casanova strikes again, she quipped, her tongue sharp but not entirely unkind. Well, at first, I held my ground, I said with mock seriousness, pausing for dramatic effect. But somehow, I couldn't resist her allure. At that moment, I decided it was time to put an end to the charade. But something in her expression stopped me cold, a subtle narrowing of her eyes, the slight tension at the corners of her lips. Wait, are you serious? She asked, her voice lower than usual. The shift in her tone hit me like a bucket of ice water. The joke was clearly veering into uncharted and dangerous territory. Well, I stammered, raising my hands as if surrendering. She lingered for a second, her gaze piercing. Then she turned and disappeared into the kitchen. I stood there, rooted to the spot, before reluctantly following her. When I caught up, she was already in the living room. She had curled up on the sofa, legs tucked beneath her, a plaid blanket draped over her shoulders. Her face was turned away, but the tension in her posture was impossible to ignore. David, she began, her voice quiet, almost fragile. She wasn't looking at me. Her eyes seemed fixed on some distant point. Since we're on the subject, something about her tone sent a chill through me. What subject? I frowned, the words coming out more defensive than I intended. Do you remember the New Year's corporate party? 2 years ago? I nodded slowly, trying to figure out where this was headed. Of course I do, I said cautiously. I was working late that night, couldn't come to pick you up. You got home late, said you had a good time. Why? The chief was there, she said quietly, almost to herself. You remember him? He had just started with the company back then. Something twisted in the pit of my stomach. Yeah, I remember, I said stiffly. What about him? She glanced away, her fingers tightening around the edge of the blanket. We were drunk, she said, barely above a whisper. It only happened once. Her words hung in the air, thick and suffocating. For a moment, I couldn't process what she had just said. It felt like the world had slowed to a crawl. Wait, I said, my voice sharp now. What did you just say? She turned to face me, and in her eyes, I saw a mix of guilt and anguish that hit me harder than any punch. I cheated on you, she said. Her words echoed in my head like a thunderclap. What did you just say? It was a long time ago, she stammered, her voice cracking. After that night, I tried to forget it. It didn't mean anything. It didn't mean anything. Something dark surged inside me, a fire I couldn't control. You call that nothing? She broke down, tears streaming down her face. David, I didn't want to. I thought I could handle it, but you. Do you even realize what you're saying? I shot to my feet, trembling with a mix of rage and disbelief. You cheated? And now you're just dropping it on me like you bought new curtains or something? I thought you'd understand, she whispered through her sobs. Understand what, exactly? My voice was sharp, bitter. What am I supposed to understand? She took a step toward me, her hands trembling, but I recoiled, as if her touch might burn me. You were just joking about Lucy and your colleagues, she said, almost pleading. Exactly. I spat out, a bitter laugh escaping me. It was a joke. Only a joke. Do you even get that? Her face froze, the color draining from her skin as my words sank in. A joke, she repeated, her voice barely audible. Yes, damn it. A joke. The silence that followed was heavier than anything I'd ever felt. I could see the realization dawning in her eyes, slow and devastating. You were joking, she said, her voice hollow. Then she paused, the weight of what had just happened sinking in. And you ruined everything. I could barely contain the wave of anger and betrayal crashing through me. Do you even get that? David, she pleaded, stepping closer again. Don't touch me, I said, backing away sharply. Just don't. She covered her face with her hands, her sobs muffled but unrelenting. I want to fix this, she cried out. I'll do anything to make it right. Fix it? I shouted, my voice breaking. You think that's possible? I grabbed my jacket, my movements jerky and frantic, and stormed toward the door. Where are you going? She yelled after me, her voice desperate. To get some air, I said coldly, slamming the door behind me so hard that the glass in the frame rattled. It was cold outside. The wind bit through my jacket, numbing my fingers, but I hardly noticed it. The city had its own rhythm, its own indifferent pulse, cars humming in the distance, windows glowing with warm yellow light. And there I stood, alone in an empty alley, staring at the asphalt, which seemed strangely black and shiny under the street lights. We had been together for 8 years. I had always considered our relationship to be strong and honest. After all, Lily was my everything, my home, my support. And now, it all seemed like some kind of parody. A pathetic illusion. I thought back to how we met. She worked in a bookstore, and I had asked her to help me find a gift for my nephew. She had such a sincere, open laugh. But how did it come to this? The same question kept running through my head. Why? Why did she do it? And why didn't she tell me before? Why did it come out only now, when I was joking like a fool? Or maybe it was my fault. Maybe I worked too hard, didn't pay enough attention. But no. This was her choice. Her act. I felt a lump rise in my throat. I had believed her. I had always believed her. And now, the joke was over. And what would start tomorrow? I didn't even know.